Hello guys and welcome to Watching Time. Today I want to share with you a watch that came into my possession in a strange manner, in the sense that I bought a couple of vintage watches box. It was a blinded box. I didn't have any idea of what it was inside at the time of the acquisition. I knew there were some vintage watches, so there was like a small auction, and some of them would be interesting. This is one of the ones that I found inside, and I don't really know if it is what it seems to be. So I want just to share with the community a little bit about it. Probably you I don't know, probably one of my viewers or someone that's there around the internet can give me more information. So I'm going to show you here what I see. It's actually it's a Tudor. It's a Tudor, what they call the Tudor Submariner, as they resemble actually quite a copy of what the Submariners were at the time from Rolex, and it seems from what it looks like to be the Tudor Oyster Prince Submariner Tropical, made in the 60s, around the 64, 65. At least that's what it looks to me, but I don't have an idea if it is actually the Tudor Tropical. We're talking about a piece that it's difficult to find, and the prices in which it sells are usually very high. I have no idea if it really is or if this is a fake, which I don't know. There are many things that make me think it's not a fake. I'm not an expert on fakes. So I just want to share with you some of the top points. So the first thing, the watch is actually working, not bad. It has a little bit of disalignment between the minutes and the hour hand, so definitely is to be reviewed by a watchmaker. As you can see in this image, the dial. The dial is the one originally made by the Tudor for the Tudor Submariner Tropical. It looks old, it looks very old, and it looks damaged. Actually, as you can see on this shot, there is a big scratch in the middle of the watch. I don't know with what they made it, or it definitely have been open over the years, so it's not a watch that was in perfect condition. And as you can see, they have taken out somehow a scratch, damaged the dial inside, in the middle around where you usually put the hands. So you have an absence of what should be written in that side. And as you can see, underneath the Tudor Oyster Prince should be printed, and you can barely see it because of this damage that has suffered in the dial. The other thing is you can clearly see it in this shot, and you can see that they have taken out all the it's scratch. It's just, it doesn't have any more the characteristics. The other thing that you can notice from the dial is that there is no luminova. It's clear that the luminova has been taken off completely, maybe when they try to do a restoration or something. So there's no luminova on the dials, but it looks like it had the luminova. So you can find traces of it especially when you see it on a magnifying glass, and you can find traces of the luminova or like small pieces. Actually, what you see there on top that looks a little bit like a small here, like a small hair, it's actually a piece of luminova. So the luminova somehow has come off. They just scratch it. I have seen this done in other vintage watches, in which, because of the severe damage of the luminova over time, which I love, some watchmakers, they just decide to take it off the dial. I think it's crazy, but it seems to be what happened here, and at the same time they have severely damaged also the dial. Anyway, this doesn't make me think for it to be a fake. There's no reason to damage a fake watch. You know, if it was a fake Tropical, maybe produced in the last 10 years or so, there's no reason why it should be damaged. The other thing is that you can still see that the hands, the hour hands and the minute hands and the second hands, they look original to me, and they look and they keep the vintage patina, and also the luminova that has aged over these years. The bezel looks like the Tropical Tudor, you know, the kind of shade of blue. I have tried to compare it with some pictures online, and it looks pretty much the same. So if it was a fake, it's actually pretty well made. The luminova on here, it's actually still working, and there is some damage on the bezel. You can actually see it's old, so it looks like a used watch. It doesn't look like, you know, a fake that you just buy and it's in perfect state, and it tried to recreate a vintage watch. The case also, it has several scratches, and at that time it was correct for Tudor to be wearing the Rolex crown and also the Rolex bracelet. What doesn't convince me 100%, and it's probably has been changed over the time, this happens a lot with vintage watches, is the bracelet. Even if it's an oyster, I don't know, it seems a little bit off. But at the same time, the bracelet seems original. I don't find anything that makes me think for it to be fake. Obviously, they fake very easily the vintage, you know, stamp steel, but this looks old. So if it's a vintage watch, it's a vintage watch, a vintage fake. The internal mechanism produced by Rolex, which is also branded here, as you can see, to increase easily the clasp. It's in very good state, and it actually works still, which it's weird to find in, you know, in vintage watches. And you can see it also has the Rolex brand here, so it's actually in pretty good state for the age, but at the same time you can clearly see that it's a vintage watch. The bracelet looks okay for me. It doesn't look like a fake bracelet. It looks old, so you have like hollow internal metal links, but the external walls outside seems to be solid. It's a screw down links also, so it actually has the screw down trademarks. Here you have this bended funny metal piece of the bracelet. I don't know, maybe because of the manipulation and over the last years, but overall it has nothing that makes me think for it to be a fake. And at the same time, it looks more like, you know, it has all the numbers, the correct numbers and everything. It looks like it has been pretty much beaten up, and it looks old. And the case and the movement, I have not managed yet to open the case, actually. I don't have the correct instrument to do that. But when I got it inside of the box, I also found this. So it seems like spare pieces from the mechanism that is supposed to be mounted inside of this Tudor. They look original. As you can see, the rotor that seems to have been changed is the rotor of a Tudor Auto Prince, which I don't know if it should be the same or not. You have also the stem that seems to have been changed of the crown. And there are some major pieces here that have been changed. I don't know for what reason. So it's a big doubt. Is the mechanism inside still the one originally made for the Tropical, or it's a new one? I really have no idea, and I will definitely try to open it, but just to show you what's inside. So what do you think, guys? Is this a holy grail in my hand, or is it a Franken watch? Is it just is a real Tropical that over the time and the carelessness of the owners that had it, it has just been, you know, manipulated a lot, and they changed the bracelets and they changed the pieces, and it was not kept in good shape, let's say, but it's still original? What do you think? What are your impressions? Do you think it is really this holy grail in Tudor history? I would love to hear about it. I would love to have some more experience and opinions on this point. Thank you very much. Until next time. Bye bye.